Decisions. We had some big decisions to make. We lived for years up north, and then we had to decide, where did we want to move, or should we stay?
Well, we'll tell you how we made out right now.
So hi, welcome back. I'm Terry Pasquarelli with MVP Realty.
I'm Rich Pasquarelli with MVP Realty.
And our video today is going to address something we get asked about all the time. We did not grow up in Florida. We didn't spend most of our adult life in Florida, but here we are on the Paradise Coast in Southwest Florida. How did we get here? What was behind the decision? And how did we make out with that decision? Let's talk about it. Well, maybe we should really tell everybody kind of the baseline. Where did we come from and what was our history coming into the decision? How about you?
Well, I was born in the Bronx, grew up in Connecticut.
And you lived there for a long time.
I lived there for a very long time.
Yeah, you sure did. I, on the other hand, was born in New York, but my family was in New Jersey. So I grew up there, went to school there, and only after college did I move to Connecticut. And then I was up there for about 14 and a half, 15 years. We spent most of that time there together,
Right.
Started raising our family.
Yes.
And then jobs started to take us to other parts of the country. So we spent some time in the Mid-Atlantic, really nice. We lived in Maryland.
Maryland was wonderful.
We also spent some time in the Midwest. We had a really good experience in Indiana. Our daughter went through high school there, and that's where we were most immediately when we were starting to think about what was next for us. And we had a lot of decisions to make. We were always thinking about real estate. We were interested in it for quite a while, and you had been involved in it from a business point of view way before I got involved.
That's where I started in real estate in Indiana almost 20 years ago now. And then we ended up making a list of the different criteria of where we wanted to go, or, you know, would we want a second home, and what are the things that we would want in a second home. We weren't thinking about retiring it at that point, but we were thinking that at some point we may want to have a vacation home. We did a lot of vacationing. We used to go to Disney every single Christmas for vacation. So we knew a little bit about Florida in the wintertime. Of course, that was Orlando, not necessarily where we ended up. So
no, and then we used other vacations, I think, to try to work through that checklist that you talked about. We vacationed a lot of summers in Hilton Head, and we thought that would be a really good option to think about moving away from the north and getting to a more temperate climate near the water. That was starting to be sort of a theme for us. And we checked it out and loved spending time there, but we figured out it wasn't the right next home for us.
It wasn't. It was farther away from a major airport that we wanted to have. And it was also, we found out it was pretty expensive to live over there. And it was pretty all built. So anything that you wanted to buy was either off the island of Hilton Head, or you had to buy something that was, needed renovation. And then after the purchase price, it would have been pretty, cost prohibitive for us.
Right, at that time that didn't sound like the right move. We tried some other things. We went to the east coast of Florida and vacationed. We went to Grand Cayman, and we came really close to buying and building on the island of Grand Cayman because we loved that water.
Right.
We loved the beaches. The people were so nice, and anytime we were there, we just had a really special experience. And then we didn't quite get to pull the trigger on that one, but we came close. So we knew that met a lot of things on our list that we were developing all those years about things we would like to do.
Right.
And I think sometime you thought about, should we move to a lake? Maybe Tennessee or Arkansas or someplace that would have, kind of cool deep lakes and woods and boating.
Right. Well, again, back to the water. We love to be on beaches. We love water. So that was something that was also on our list,
So I think we probably played with that list on and off, either mentally or writing it out. 20 years, you think?
Oh, at least, yeah. Well, probably even a little longer than that. We anytime we went on a vacation, we thought about well, what would it be like to live here and put ourselves in a position of you know, seeing what it was like. And we always kept coming back to it didn't quite fit all of the criteria that we were looking for.
That's
And-
right.
And then one time, spring break, we were going to be going on a vacation back to Grand Cayman, and that didn't quite work out because the hotel that we were going to stay in had some damage from a storm, and so we couldn't go there. So
That's right. And I had a colleague at work who had a place in Bonita Springs, Florida, right next to Naples. We had never really visited there to any extent with our family. And so as sort of what ended up being a backup plan that year, we came down to Southwest Florida on spring break. And because we're always interested in real estate, I did have my real estate license back in Indiana for a while and didn't use it quite the same way you used yours, but you were very active in real estate. I think inevitably, even though we were on vacation, we had days that we ended up going out looking at real estate while we were in the Naples and Bonita Springs area.
sure, there's someone that was in my office, or used to be in my office back up in Indiana. He had relocated down here to the Naples area, and when we came down, I gave him a call and say, "Hey, Bob, you know, we're down. We'd like to take a look at some real estate and see what it's like to live in this area." And we set up a time, and we went out with him on that while we were on our vacation, and that was probably the beginning.
It was pretty much the beginning, because by the time we left for home, we had signed a contract to build a house in Southwest Florida. Not what we thought we'd be doing on that vacation, but it was
Not at
probably
all.
a decision in the making for over 20 years.
Sure.
And we had some criteria that this seemed to check the boxes on. So, like, talk about weather. Compared to a Hilton Head or Jacksonville or the East Coast even of Florida, when we got down this far to Naples and Bonita, we were below the frost line, and talk about the weather here.
Well, yeah, the weather, I mean, it's very difficult to beat, and that's why we get so much seasonal traffic down here, is that people love to live in Southwest Florida. We have our cold days, but our cold days will go down into the 40s, and then it springs back up again, and we're back into the 80s. So we may have some cold overnights and some chilly days, but compare that to a place like Hilton Head. They get very cold up there, and even in the northern Florida. This winter, northern Florida did have some freezing, and we did not. We always didn't have to cover any plants. We're always pretty warm compared to the northern part of Florida.
That's a good point. We never did turn on our heat this whole winter.
No, we haven't.
And we won't have to now, because we're heading right into spring again.
Exactly.
So we're below the frost line here, and we're right near the coast. So there's some moderation of temperatures, even compared to what you talked about earlier. We would vacation in Florida, in Orlando, and we still do that a lot. But the thought of living in the middle of the state, being more landlocked, has a very different weather implication.
It
Really
does.
hot and humid, and a different feeling in the summer in particular, compared to living as close as we do to the water. And you talk a lot about the high temperatures in Naples that people are surprised when you tell them.
Everybody says, "Oh, Florida's too hot." Well, that's because they visited Orlando in August, and when you come down into anywhere near a coast, especially down here in Southwest on the Gulf Coast, Naples has never experienced a triple-digit temperature. So we get warm, we stay warm for a longer time, but it gets hot up in the north. I'm sure in Philly and in New Jersey, you've experienced 100-degree plus temperatures. We have not down here. Inland, yes, but not on the coast, and we always have a nice breeze, as you could probably tell by my hair.
Oh yeah,
blowing in the
sure.
breeze,
Thank God mine's in good shape here. And then, you know, people worry about the cost of living. They say, "Oh my gosh, I can't afford to live in Naples, Florida. It's got some kind of aura about it." And yet, being in the real estate market, we really can talk to the fact that there are people at all stages of life, all ages, before they're married, while they're raising a family, while they're thinking about their next chapter, and when they retire, who all find the right kind of quality of life and price point in the Naples area that is suitable to them. It's not only mansions and beachfront homes. There are a lot of different housing products, from condos to small homes to houses that are near golf courses to near the water, or just really in some great areas that have infrastructure for shopping and schools. And so the variety, I think, surprises people.
It does, and a lot of the communities down here, the amenities that go along with them, there's very little that you have to even leave for. You could probably hear behind us, we have pickleball is going on, we have tennis, we have bocce, we have kayaking because we're on the water in this neighborhood here. To go to the beach, it's 15 minutes away, but there's so much to going on right in our own community, and like a lot of communities, that you don't have to go off-site for everything that you want to do.
Yeah, a lot of it's right here, so you feel like you're a bit at a resort, even in the communities we live in, and many of them have the tot lots and playgrounds and areas to raise a family, and community pools, not just pools at people's individual homes. So lots of variety and lots of price points, many times beyond the stereotype that people have about only sort of, a certain economic opportunity in Naples, and it's just sort of not the case, especially not anymore. I think the other thing that you can't beat here are the beaches. We talked about the fact that getting near water was a big driver for us, and we've given up in a way maybe the ocean side. The east coast of Florida has more crashing waves and surfers, etc. But we have these Gulf waters and access to the beaches both at Marco and in Naples and Bonita. I don't think you can beat them from just accessibility and calm, beautiful beaches.
The beaches in Marco, we live 15 minutes away from Marco and 15 minutes away from the beaches in Naples, and they're two totally different beaches. You can get more of the East Coast type of a beach if you go down to Marco. It's more now south on the Gulf, where you can come up into the Naples and Bonita area where you have a softer, sandier beaches. So there's all different kinds of things like that. But going back to us deciding to build a home, we have built in our time many homes.
We up to about 10, I think, something like that.
But anytime we moved, we would always look for existing properties first, and we would try very hard to see what we could find. And we always ended up saying, "Oh, what the heck? We'll just start from scratch and we
get what we want."
Home.
That's one way to get what we want.
Get what we want. It takes a little longer because you have to wait for that to happen. But so we built down here. So we're pretty experienced with going through the process of building from scratch, either between our own experiences and also helping our customers that it's getting a lot easier now. But whenever you build, you always say, you know what I should have done.
You learn something,
don't you?
You always
learn something new every time. So it's always helpful to have someone with you that has the experience. And down here at the current time, there's almost 90 new communities to choose from. So
in addition to everything that's already built and ready for you to find resale, so you have options here.
Oh, you have a lot of options, and there's so many options that it can get overwhelming for people looking to relocate into the area. And we've seen so many times where people come down and they go and they see a model home, they fall in love with it, they sign a contract and build, and after a year or two of living here or spending more time here, they realize that, I like it better in a different product. Maybe we bought a house too small, now we need it a little larger, or the other way around. We were in our first house down here for about 10 years, and that was in a golf community. And it took me that long to figure out that what I do on a golf course is not considered golf. So we decided
wasn't us.
We might want to. I tried real hard, but I decided that no, I'm gonna move away from the golf community, and we came to a different community now that doesn't offer golf, but a lot of people who live here still play golf. They just it's not in the neighborhood. They go to a golf club that they
Very
belong
close
to.
by.
There's one that's very close by. You can ride your bike to. So
There's that, yeah.
So there's a lot of different options.
You do learn a lot.
Yeah.
But, you know, I don't want to lose sight of that criteria we were talking about. And one of the points you made earlier was when we were in some other places, including like Hilton Head, we felt like we'd be really far from the highway. And we were still definitely in our working years as we came down here. And proximity to an airport that was a nice quality airport, but also easy to get in and out of, was important to us. And then, you know, we again stumbled upon this opportunity to be in Bonita, Naples, Marco Island area that we've been talking about. And there is the Southwest Florida Regional Airport, RSW, that's at the southern end of Fort Myers. And it's right off the highway. I think we have a little experience going back and forth to the the airport over the
Boy,
10 or
we sure
15
do.
years that we were first here.
Yeah, we had a lot of experience going back and forth. We know that airport very well. So.
But it really turned out to be accessible. From our first house, which was right in North Naples, Bonita, we could get to the airport in about 25 minutes, just hop on the highway and hop back off. And even moving further down into Naples, it's maybe a 40-minute drive. It's all highway driving for the most part. And we have had very good service levels at that airport. They've modernized it. It's very accessible as an airport. It's not one of those ones you dread going into.
No, they keep adding direct flights, which is also a big plus for that airport. So that's
so. I mean, for us, I think that proximity to airport and the quality of the airport was big. And if we don't find everything we need right out of RSW, we are maybe 2 hours from the Miami airport and about 2 hours from the Tampa airport or Fort Lauderdale. So being in this Naples market, boy, it gave us a lot of opportunity to continue our love of travel.
It did.
And we can really get out of here on a plane when we need to from probably any of those directions, but mostly we're able to go right out of RSW.
a plane or a ship, because we can cruise out of Florida, and I think 5 different ports that we
At
can
least
drive to.
4. I can get 5.
So if you like cruising or something like that, a lot of times they'll offer last minute deals, and you can just which we've done. And a last minute deal, what are you doing next week? Well, let's hop on a ship and go for a couple of days.
We didn't need a plane ride to get there.
And we didn't need a plane ride to get there, and you didn't need to worry about booking anything. So that was another thing that we never realized when we were looking here, that would end up being a big plus that we found later on.
Right. And I think that kind of wraps up the kind of talk about the criteria, because it speaks to quality of life. You mentioned the amenities in the community. We talked about the ability to travel. We talked about the access to beaches, being below the frost line and having that more moderate subtropical kind of climate that's here. And we just have this opportunity to be outside in weather like this, whether it's in the middle of winter or all year round. And there's so much to do. The restaurants are great. The shopping's great if you love that. The beaches are phenomenal. There is just always something to do, and usually you can do it outside.
Exactly.
So I think when I go back through that criteria, it's still holding up, even though we've now been here for a long time, probably about 16 years or so.
Yes.
And yeah, I think we might have made the right choice based on our wish list and our criteria. So that's pretty good.
Well, I know when I go through an airport now and I look at all the different destinations as you're going by gate by gate, and I said, well, I wouldn't want to live where they're going. I wouldn't want to live where they're going. And I keep thinking of, is there another place? And all of the places for us, it keeps coming back to, we found what place is just perfect for us.
That's right. Now, you talked a little bit before about, we decided to build a house. We could have found a resale. There were a number of them out there, but we liked the idea of choosing the tile and the cabinets and getting the floor plan exactly the way we wanted. But we really hadn't been used to purchasing and living in a home in Florida. We had lots of experience up north, and it translates somewhat, but then again, somewhat it doesn't. And I think about the whole idea of a lanai and the pool and the spa as being a really big learning moment for us when it came to that first house. We did some things for reasons that took us in one direction, and it worked out great, but for a whole different reason.
Right. right? And you know the way they build homes here, the construction materials are different here. Different things to think about here than you would have to up north. That we've learned over the years that make a big difference when you're building a house down here, that you may not think of up north, and it does come into play when you're in the south.
You know, some people, as we're out in our real estate business, they talk to me about their criteria coming from a more northern climate, and they'll say things to me like, well, a pool would be like okay, but it's not a deal breaker. Maybe some outdoor space, but I need a dining room in the house. And I think part of what we learned is we spend a lot more time living outside because we can, often in a screened lanai, or people have a fenced yard if they don't have a screened in lanai. And you find that you might be eating outside a lot more than you thought. That dining room may not be as important. We thought a pool would be nice. We had pools up north, but one of these hot tub spa things, why would we need it? But you put one in. Can you talk to us about why we did that?
Yeah, I put one in because I thought, well, maybe because we built a home in a golf community, I may want to rent this out.
We weren't going to live here.
We were still, mostly up north, and this was just our second home. So I said, well, what the heck, I'll put a spa because I think people would like that. And as it turned out, we use the spa more than we do the pool. And even over the years, we're probably going to be going into the spa tonight.
I'm counting on it.
And over the years, that hasn't lost interest with us at all. And even the way the pools have been made from when we first came down here to now, the different designs, the different things that you can do with a pool right now are so different than when we moved down here. We've been able to, since we built again,
right,
we were able to design the pool that we wanted, and we really enjoy it very much.
But definitely the spa was then a critical feature, where the first time around we probably would have skipped it if we had.
Now we know the spa is something that that's first, and then what do we do with the pool? So
it is kind of funny. You do learn things, and it's not the same preconceptions that we had when we came from the north. Like what we knew and how we lived started to really evolve and change by the time that we came down here. So that was kind of interesting, and I think we learned the same thing about how much stuff we brought. We brought furniture. We brought rugs that were kind of heavy, thick, beautiful rugs that looked great in our homes up north.
Up in Indiana, they were perfect.
Right, or even in Maryland and New Jersey, all these places that we lived. And when we brought them here, from a texture and a weight and a color scheme perspective, they were dark, they were heavy, they just didn't necessarily reflect the climate, the lifestyle, just the whole vibe that we would have. And we probably could have gotten rid of a number of things and not paid to lug them here, move them here, store them here, all of that.
Yeah, we made the newbie mistake by bringing the northern furniture down, and now we tell people, don't bring it because you're paying to bring it down. It's going to get damaged.
Yes, we learned that.
Then you're probably, if you're building, and maybe even if you're not, there's probably going to be a portion of the time that's going to be stored, so you're paying for that. And then you're going to bring it into your house, and you're going to realize it doesn't fit. It doesn't look right in this house. It doesn't fit right in this house. And you end up selling it or donating it. And after all the money that you spent to bring it here, and now you're going to have to. The good part is it's fun to go, furniture shopping, but you just wasted all that time and effort
and a lot of money
of money to bring it here.
You could have put that money towards something more suitable.
There's always going to be a few items that you're always going to want to bring.
Fair enough.
Bring your pickleball racket. And,
family heirlooms.
Heirlooms.
Bring your photo album,
like
maybe.
But for a lot of the stuff, trust me, you don't need it. It's a different life here.
It sure is. So, I think we covered a lot of ground in this conversation. We talked about where we came from and all the things we kind of knew and experienced that maybe are relevant to a lot of people watching this video. We knew what it felt like to live in a 4-season climate, and we spent a lot of years in the Northeast, Mid-Atlantic, and Midwest. But we talked about the criteria that just kind of kept evolving for us all through our travels and vacations, and just as we were kind of growing as a family, and figured out that whether it was weather, climate type things, whether it was the quality of life, the airport, the beaches, the cost of living, we found a way that checked all the boxes for us when we found our way down to the Naples, Southwest Florida area. I don't think there's any looking back.
No, not for me. I can't imagine, going up for any more than a visit when I have to, but usually we're lucky enough that people want to come down here to visit, especially in the wintertime. It's amazing how many times people find the time to come down during the winter and visit. So that's great.
You get to be real popular.
Yeah, yeah. And I like that. I really like having family and friends come down and visit in those winter months.
It's fun to share what we've learned and share our lifestyle. We hope we shared a little bit of it with you too. So whether you're thinking about buying a vacation home, something you might be renting out, someplace that you plan to live full time, we hope you'll think about us and give us a call. You can reach me, Terry Pasquarelli, at 239-300-6047. We'd be glad to share our experiences with you and help guide you through the process of finding the right home for you and the lifestyle you're looking for here in Southwest Florida. Until our next video, let's talk soon.
Bye now.